Single dad woke up to find the female CEO in his shirt. What she said left him frozen. The world felt unreal the moment Dylan Hart opened his eyes and saw Evelyn Grant, the youngest, most feared CEO in the city, sitting quietly at the edge of his small, worn-out couch, wrapped in nothing but his oversized white shirt. Her hair, usually perfect in glossy waves during televised interviews, fell softly over her face as sunlight filtered through the cracked blinds of his tiny apartment. For a moment, Dylan couldn't breathe. It wasn't because she looked completely out of place in his humble living room, or because her presence carried the kind of weight only billion-dollar boardrooms could create. It was because she looked at him with an expression he had never seen on her, an expression that made the room shift. Vulnerability. Fear. Relief. And when she finally opened her mouth to speak, her voice trembled in a way that froze him to the bone. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unexpected ways life brings people together, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to KH Stories. It helps the channel grow and reach more hearts like yours. Dylan sat up slowly, trying to make sense of everything, while the events of the previous night crashed into him like waves. He had not expected to cross paths with Evelyn Grant ever, let alone under circumstances that would rip away the public mask she wore so well. A single father struggling to make ends meet as a night shift janitor, Dylan had always admired Evelyn from a distance, not because she was beautiful or powerful, but because she represented everything he thought was beyond his reach. She was ambition, he was survival. She was velvet offices with city views, he was floors mopped under flickering lights. Their worlds weren't parallel, they were galaxies apart. But last night changed everything. Rain had been falling in violent sheets when he stepped out of the office building at dawn, exhausted after a 12-hour shift. On the sidewalk, half hidden behind a pillar, he had found her, soaked, trembling, hugging her knees, and completely alone. He recognized her instantly. Everyone knew Evelyn Grant. But this version of her, this wasn't the powerful woman from magazine covers. This was someone running from something, someone desperate. Dylan didn't ask questions. He just offered his jacket, then his umbrella, then half his dry clothes. And when she refused to go to the hospital or call anyone, he made the only choice he could with a heart like his, he took her to his home. His tiny apartment had only 2 beds, one for his 8-year-old daughter Lily, and the other he gave up for Evelyn. He slept on the couch, but exhaustion swallowed him before he could process more. Now, morning light revealed the consequences. Evelyn lifted her gaze as if gathering every ounce of strength left inside her, and finally spoke. Her voice was cracked but steady, holding truths that were too heavy to ignore. She told him she wasn't just running, she was escaping. From betrayal. From people she trusted. From the increasing pressure of a world waiting for her to fail. She said that last night, the walls around her finally collapsed, and for once, she allowed herself to not be the CEO everyone feared, but just a woman who couldn't carry everything anymore. Dylan listened in silence. Not because he didn't have words, but because pain, hers and his, deserved quiet space to breathe. She looked around his apartment as if she were seeing something she hadn't seen in years, simplicity, honesty, warmth. Photographs of Lily drawn in crayon. A half-fixed toy on the table. The smell of instant coffee. Life in its rawest form. Evelyn then confessed something that stunned him even more, she hadn't felt safe in a long time. And last night, the moment he draped his jacket around her shoulders without recognizing social status or wealth, she felt something break inside her. Something she didn't know she still had. Trust. Dylan didn't know how to react. His own story was a long, heavy one. His wife had passed away years ago, leaving him to raise Lily alone. Every day was a fight, not for success, but for survival. He worked jobs most people ignored, lived in a place most people overlooked, and carried responsibilities most people underestimated. He knew struggle intimately, but he also knew what it meant to keep going for someone who counted on you. Maybe that was why Evelyn felt safe around him, because he didn't ask her to be anything else. The hours passed quietly, filled with unspoken understanding. Evelyn's phone buzzed repeatedly with calls.